Did I say, oh my God, saltine cracker? Like people are just bitter because it's saltine cracker. That's not what I said. You dumb cracker.
Pizza time.
What's up, guys? You know what's great about having a second channel is if I don't feel in the mood to be high energy Vito, if I'm a little laid back, you know, I'm not in my presenter YouTube, you know, welcome to my channel, I can still make a video. I can still make it. I don't have to be on 100%. And I think, you know what? That's good. The pressure is off. Let's have a laid back chat. What are we chatting about? We're chatting about streamers. Everybody loves streaming. Streaming on Twitch. Streamers. It is what time? It is 5:30 in the morning. I have not slept, and I'm talking about Twitch streamers. Which Twitch streamers am I talking about? Well, let's just get right into it. I tell you what. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that button. That's why it's there. Love you guys. Let's talk about this one. You seen this guy? Hasan Piker. Now, this is actually, I think this is an older photo. This is when he was working for the Young Turks, which is run by his cousin. God, what's his cousin's name? Goober Grabber? The guy from Young Turks. Kenk Unger. Well, our good friend Hassan here, he was on the Young Turks, which is a news organization, but he was a bit too outrageous for the Young Turks. And in one of the great mistakes of all time, Kenk Unger said, "Be gone with you, cousin." They are cousins, I believe. Cousins or nephew, I don't know. They said, "Get out of here. You're too much for the Young Turks." And what happens? Hassan blows up. Hassan becomes, I believe, one of the top Twitch streamers. Top 20. To the point where he's making so much from streaming. People always tell me, they're like, Vito, whenever you criticize these guys, you must be jealous, right? You must be jealous. And I always tell them the same thing. I tell them, well, not really, because I don't do what they do. I would be jealous if there was another fat white guy who talked about the exact same topics as me with the same kind of demeanor and whatever else, and he was doing better than me. I think some people are going to say, well, that's the quartering. Well, no, because the quartering is very much, and no disrespect, is very much the, you know, anti-woke, anti-SJW, and I don't go down that route nearly as much. I'm not as upset. I'm a little bit woke myself. So, but I will say this. I'm a little bit jealous of Hassan. And I'm not saying that I could do what he does. I'm just jealous of anybody who's making enough money on the internet that they can buy a $2.75 million West Hollywood home. Because I live in a crappy little 2-bedroom apartment. It's not the worst. It's got room for me and my cats. But, man, I'd like to have a pool. I want a pool. Sometimes in California, I go to these estate sales just to look at how great these houses are all around California, which I cannot afford. But you know what? We're going to keep at it. Laid back Vito talk. So why are we talking about Hassan? Socialist. That's important to mention. That's why I can't be too jealous, because I'm not going to lead the socialist revolution the way this man is. He argues in favor of wealth distribution. Well, of course, I mean, you could have distributed some of that wealth to me instead of buying a $2.74 million West Hollywood home. Could have donated some money to your fellow streamers. Anyway, Hassan, who I think he's also a gore. I'll say I'm jealous of his looks. Look at that guy, anti-fascist, I can't not laugh at this picture, trying to look so tough with the anti-fascist. Antifa, I hate to say it, is so goofy. It's so stupid. It's never going to be cool. They try to make it look so cool and punk. It's not. So what is happening with this guy? We've been talking for a while. Well, these streaming platforms, he's big on Twitch, primary platform. I don't know if he streams anywhere else. But Twitch has rules. I would even say the rules are a little too strict sometimes. I see people getting booted for ridiculous things, but one of the rules is no hateful racial slurs. We know this. You can't do that. I mean, people get buried for it all the time. PewDiePie said the N-word. I don't know what that was about. PewDiePie. Thankfully, he stopped, but where'd that come from? but Hassan has said a racial slur. And luckily for me, I was able to find it. I was able to isolate it. This is from his stream, I guess from 3 days ago, but I think he only got banned yesterday. And this is in relation to a previous discussion, so he seems to be clearing up a previous statement. So apparently he had been talking about, the racial slur he had been talking about is cracker, which is a racial slur for white people. And we'll get into how we feel about that word. And someone, I guess, was accusing him of saying, well, he said the word, and then later was trying to say, no, I was referring to actual crackers. He's saying, no, I never made excuses. I never said I was referring to saltine crackers. I was referring to the white man, the evil white man. Let's listen in.
To you, why it's not the same in the video that you refused to watch and just wrote that argument against. Who are you arguing against? Who asked? Who said this? Did I say, oh my God, saltine cracker? Like people are just bitter because it's saltine cracker. That's not what I said. You dumb cracker bitch.
There you go. Okay. So, he called a lady a dumb cracker bitch. This video is not getting monetized. I'll tell you that right now. Let's real quick take a look. So, he claims that this term comes from, and I guess that was Pokimane responding to him. This whole story is all over the place. Reacts to his claim that the word cracker is not a racial slur. So she disagreed. How isn't it? And then Hassan, okay. So he was arguing with Pokimane, the great Pokimane, another person who I'm not jealous of because I'm not a dumb lady with boobs who tricks a bunch of men into giving me money for no reason. Okay. It is a racial epithet directed towards white people, used especially with regard to poor rural whites in the southern United States. Okay. And here we see a pair of Georgia crackers as depicted by illustrator James Wells Champney. So it referred to poor white people. I was going to say, I think Hassan's understanding of the word is actually incorrect. In 1783, the pejorative work of crackers specified men who descended from convicts that were transported from Great Britain to Virginia at different times. Benjamin Franklin referred to a race of runagates and crackers, equally wild and savage as the Indians. So, okay, here we go. I was going to say, where's the explanation of where this came from? And it seems to be, cracker could be used to describe loud braggarts, people who boast and make great claims of themselves. This usage is illustrated in a letter to the Earl of Dartmouth, which reads, I should explain to your lordship what is meant by crackers. This is a name they've got from being great boasters, a lawless set of rascals. So cracker would be, like cracking a joke, cracking wise. And here it seems to be like cracking, making cracking claims about yourself. Obviously, I can't be a language expert here. But I was going to say, I don't believe, it could be. It has been suggested that white slave foremen in the antebellum South were called crackers, owing to their practice of cracking the whip to drive and punish slaves. Let's see. But cracker may have been referred to whip cracking more generally. For instance, like a farmer, not necessarily a slave owner. And that would kind of make more sense. Again, if it's referring to poor white people, you would think of like a poor rural farmer, cracking the whip. Again, with his Florida cracker horse. Oh, it's even a breed of horse used for herding cattle. So this idea that it does not refer, or that it's supposed to refer to whip crackers for slave owners, I don't think we can confirm that 100%. There's just too many different usages, and it seems like for the long time it was just slang for poor white people. It wasn't really related to anything in particular. It's just one of those words that caught on, doesn't necessarily have a definition relating back to anything. So I'm going to say this. Hassan is wrong. Or at least he's not completely correct in saying that, again, it's a racist term that has no connotations that are affecting anyone who isn't in the dominant hierarchical position. Whatever you want to say. Point is, Hassan has been banned from Twitch for using a racial slur. It is, he confirms it is for exactly what you think it is, anti-white racism for using the term cracker. So, we now have a great debate, and the great debate is, we seem to have some agreements about racial slurs you can't say. I can't even tell you what they are in this video. I'll get demonetized immediately. And I want to say them. They're fun to say. I hate to say it. Some of them. I can use the ones for Italian as an Italian man. Wop. Greaseball. What are the great Italian racial slurs? Real quick. Italian racial slurs. Dago, right? Is Dago an Italian one? Let's see. Where's the Italian? Italiana. Carmanco. Used during the wave of Italian immigration. Yep, Dago is one. Dago, that's a classic. Itai. Oh, like Italian. Look at those fucking Itais. I like that. That's pretty good. Italian, the fucking Itais. I'm an Itai. Goomba, that's a classic. Goomba. I like that. ... Greaseball, yes, we got that. Guido, that's what I was missing. Guinea and Guido, two great ones. The rest of these, Swamp Guinea. What is that about? Wog and Wop, classics. See, you kind of have to have a sense of humor. Again, position of privilege. The Italians have done very well in America, but we did have to commit a lot of organized crime to get there. So the debate is it okay to use these kind of racial slurs specifically targeted at white people? Because we know the ones you can't say. I'll say one of them starts with an N, I'll tell you that. There's a couple others that you're not supposed to use. Thinking of one for the Asian people, not good. Don't use that one. Now, here's where I'm at. I'm torn. Because on one hand, I almost understand Hassan's argument. He goes, well, traditionally whites have not been, what do you call it? In a position of, they've always kind of been in the dominant position in America. Now, obviously, poor people have suffered. If this was an anti-poor slur, which it kind of sounds like it is. See, that's where it gets complicated. But let's assume that it's only directed at white people, and you go, well, they've never been truly marginalized. They've never faced historical discrimination in this country. So can you really... I'll say this. 100% I agree. This is not the equivalent of the N-word. Because the N-word was, again, directed at a group that was not the dominant leaders in society, that was systematically oppressed. I know that pisses some people off, but you got to admit it. Racism was real in this country. You got to talk about it. Jim Crow laws were real, okay? So that word is a lot more charged because that was a word that was tossed at people who were being historically downtrodden and disenfranchised. You would yell that hateful word at them, and it's kind of a reminder of that time. It has more emotional weight. Cracker does not seem to have that kind of weight. I mean, here we see it was used to sell peaches. Seems to have just kind of been like, look at these dumb crackers, you know, but not taken seriously. Like, it wasn't necessarily hateful. It was more like just making fun of them. You know, it wasn't like, we got to drive these crackers out of their homes. It was like, look at that dumb cracker. Fuck that guy. So, the words are clearly not equivalent. But, I mean, what do you do? How do you write a policy? And I was thinking today, these tech policies are so complicated. It's impossible to write a guideline document that is 100% clear on what's up. I just recently checked my back end on YouTube, and so many of my videos are demonetized, and I don't know why. Because the tech platforms don't tell me. I'm like, is it because I talked about trans people? Is it because I talked about racial slurs? I'm sure this video will be demonetized just for saying the word racial slur. Even though I think this is I think we're having a scholarly discussion. We're being reasonable. Anyway, let's take this controversy one step further. Vosh. Let's get a nice picture of Vosh here. Vosh, king of the communists. I don't know if he's king, but he's definitely one of the generals, the YouTube communists. Why leftist streamer Vosh does something, I don't care, and I'm not going to read the article. Look at this guy. I've actually direct messaged with this guy. I'd love to get him on a show sometime. Pick his brain. I think sometimes he's got good takes. But I also think sometimes the socialist ideology is a little too idealistic. I don't think it takes into account the fact that the human being is naturally competitive and also needs incentives. You need to provide incentives to make men work hard or get anything done. And you can say, well, the robots will take care of it, but that's, we'll see. Hopefully we get to that point. Vosh commented on this. I don't know, and we don't have the clip. I haven't found the clip. However, he said the word. He said that hateful C word. Hello, Vosh. Twitch is committed to keeping our community safe for anyone. Based on a review of your activity or content, we have not only issued a community guideline strike, but due to the severe nature of this violation, your access to Twitch services is indefinitely restricted. Now, see, I have to argue with this severe nature of this violation. I'll say it right here. Am I going to get banned from YouTube to saying it? There's some of these white crackers out here causing some trouble. Now, clearly, I'm not actually being racially hurtful to anybody, but I also don't think that word is nearly as dangerous as we want to make it. And I am somebody who agrees there are some the hateful words that I don't want to see on some of these platforms. I think they go too far. I understand demonetizing people who say them. And I know the argument is always, well, should you ban people who say them? It's a complicated intersection of capitalism and free speech that these platforms are always wrestling with. YouTube has to wrestle with the fact that if they have a bunch of guys running around yelling racial slurs, some of their advertisers might go, well, we're just going to find a video platform that doesn't allow that. So that's where it gets complicated. What is YouTube's right as a business to say, you guys are hurting our bottom line, get off our platform? And I know some of you are going to say, well, it's the public square, they have to allow everybody. Why? It's a private company. Don't they have the right to make as much money as they want? Within reason, without breaking the law? So, we now have Vosh. He's been banned. I don't know if this is going to get overturned. I mean, this is it's pretty big. Hateful slurs or symbols. Because if they overturn this, next thing you know, people go, well, I don't understand. Why is Vosh allowed to use his anti-white language? And I can't say what I think about the blacks and the Jews, which, again, I know this is going to be contentious, and let me know in the comments what you think. And I know some of you are going to say, well, any racial slur, they all carry the same weight. I disagree. Some of them have historical usage that is far more toxic. That's like saying, what if I invented a new racial slur? I said, glungors. That's my hateful word for white people. That's not on the same level as the N-word. I just made it up. Doesn't matter if it refers to white people. Clearly those words, glungor, you'll go, well, that's not a thing that people use. Even if it is hateful towards white people, nobody knows about it except you. So clearly different words have different emotional charges. So I'm going to leave it up in the air. I'll make this declaration. One, Hassan's an idiot for asserting that he knows exactly where that word came from. Clearly the etymology is very complicated, and clearly it typically referred to poor whites, not slave owners. Remember, slave owners were less than 1% of the population, very wealthy, and this word cracker clearly did not describe them. Maybe you could say it referred to the men who worked for them, but regardless, it seems to have just referred to some redneck hillbilly. Second of all, I think that platforms can have platforms are going to have terms of service, and I'll say this: they need to be very fair about how they dole it out. But the problem is, how do you be fair? How do you determine? How do you make a rule for your platform? You go, well, this racial slur is serious and this one's not. It's very complicated. And Vosh and Hassan getting banned, well, that's just funny. Fuck these guys. No. I have to be reasonable. It looks like Hassan might come back after a week, so I don't know why he's come back after a week. I mean, we got the video. He called her a dumb cracker bitch. It seems pretty intense. But he got the week-long ban. Vosh, I don't know, maybe he had priors. He's banned forever. But I'll say this. Both of these men, regardless of whether you love them or hate them, I think they're known for being willing to have insightful dialogue. You don't have to agree with them. But I don't think these guys are hate mongers. I don't think they need to be banned. And I think Twitch, what drives me most nuts with these platforms, as always, is I need more information. You can't tell me read the hateful content of your community guidelines. I want you to come out and make a list Make a list. I don't even think it would be that hard. Say, these terms are not allowed on Twitch. If someone goes, well, can I say this one? You go, is it on the list? They say no. You go, well, then yeah, you can say it. And you can argue up and down about whether the list is fair, but at least we have a list. At least we know specifically which words are banned. I think that is what these tech platforms need to do. Just tell us. Tell us, don't talk about this, don't say this. We deserve to know the rules. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? What do we think? And I know some of you in the audience, I know you guys, you're going, Hasan and Vosh deserve to be hung up by their feet. I don't think you like these guys, some of you guys. I kind of like, I haven't watched Hassan stuff. Some of Vosh's stuff is very interesting. I don't hate the guy. But how do you deal with this? Or do you just have the blanket ban? Do you say it doesn't matter what it is? If you say Glargons, you're gone. That's racist. We'll figure it out. Hopefully we figure it out. Thanks for coming by the chill video fun time. Promise next time I'll be screaming up a storm. I know you like screamy Vito. I know people are like, wow, what's going on? What's happening? Yeah, I'll get there. I'm a little tired tonight. You guys want to see a cat? Take a look at this cat. Look at this cat. I'm this guy right now. Hey. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Say hi to everybody. Okay. Thanks for watching.